Today I'm going to talk about building a six-figure coaching program or community or something along those lines. I'm going to give you real examples of different niches and different ways that I have sold courses and launched coaching programs and communities. We're going to talk about how to build an audience or what you need to actually make those sales. And we're going to talk about different software and platforms you can actually launch it all with. So today's video you should look at as not as much of the step-by-step how-to. I do have a coaching program, of course, for that, but more of the inspiration of, hey, I could do that. That might actually work. Or maybe kind of taking that next step because you're already in a place where you might be able to start adding that to your existing offers because you have an audience already. Now, I'm also going to share some of the mistakes that I've made, what I wouldn't do again, and what I would do and am doing now, and kind of like what those trade-offs are. Now, this year specifically, I launched a brand new six-figure coaching program. It's been around for a year now, and it has fluxed in membership. So I've seen it go way up, and then I've seen it kind of level off during a season of where everybody's pulling back financially. And yet it has stayed super steady. So it's worth talking about that format. And let's just start there, and then I'll kind of work my way back a little. Now, if you're looking for that guru that's going to teach you how to make millions of dollars, I'm not her. Not her. I'm 54 years old. I'll be 54 in a few days. And I'm in a place now, no employees, no business partner, just me, 78% profitable. I run very lean, and I love this life. I love this lifestyle. I love this business. Back in the day when I was younger, it was hustle culture. It was build, build, build. It was grow big teams. It was find leverage, hire people smarter than you, whatever. Fine. If that's where you're at, I'm just not there anymore. And that's not what I'm going to focus on. I'm more into automation and good systems and good strategies that allow me to live a life of freedom so I can go take a cruise whenever I want to, or now I'm taking all these daytime classes for health and wellness, and I want to keep that lifestyle. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you more in six figures and in thousands of dollars rather than millions of dollars. Okay, so this specific coaching program, this is what it looks like, and let me break down what it looks like first before I run off. It is a group coaching program where I offer 2 monthly calls. That's the real value. This is the big value in my opinion, and based on the feedback of my coaching clients. We have 2 monthly calls, 2 hours long each call. So we're meeting for a total of 4 hours per month. And it's over, I'm just using Zoom right now. Not my favorite platform, but it works. So that's what we're using right now. And we meet, and this gives me the ability to talk about the current trends, what's happening right now. Whoever's live on the call, I can consult with them directly. I can coach them directly in that little group environment. And I love it. I've never loved coaching one-on-one. It's just not my thing, but I love this small group environment. It's so healthy and everybody's plugged in, and I'm excited and they're excited, and that 2 hours flies by. I look forward to it. I have energy afterwards. It's really a good format for me. The other thing that's involved with this coaching program, and it doesn't have to be, but I'll share with you what I put together, is there is a large, it's modules. I call it resources. I call it the blueprint resources. And basically it's these sections or these modules that can be considered courses, but I don't like to look at them anymore as courses because everything's changing so fast that it's really hard to keep courses current. So it's more of like, this is what I'm doing right now. So it's videos, it's ChatGPT prompts, it's AI prompts, it's ebooks, it's specific guides on this is how I do this one specific strategy. It's resources with links for people to go learn more with the individual apps. It's basically a starter guide to getting started with TikTok Shop, or starter guide to getting with Amazon, or getting with building a WordPress website, or starting to write ebooks. There's a section on that. It's just basically whatever I'm doing. It's kind of feeding that, the resources section. And that is obviously part of the pitch when I'm presenting the coaching is that they have these resources to go to. And it's also leverage for me so that I'm not constantly teaching, I'm more coaching. And then I can say, hey, go back and watch the video that's in the module about WordPress so you can see step-by-step how to build the website. Because there's no way I can teach all of that just through 4 hours of calls every month, right? And then I also am giving them a private Facebook community. Now, this could be done on multiple platforms, but my group's older, mostly over 40, and they're used to Facebook. They understand Facebook. It works well for them. When I launched the program, I didn't start there. And everybody was kind of like, can't we just move this to Facebook? Can't we move this to Facebook? So that's what I did. So whatever group, if you're younger, you might do a Discord, you might have another thing that you like doing, but Facebook is what works for me. So there's a tip, there's a takeaway for you right there. Know who your audience is and provide them with the tools they need and are comfortable with. Because if you try to make them reach for something else that's too far out of it, they won't be able to get to it, okay? Now here's something that I learned that you might have a takeaway also. When I first launched this specific coaching program, I launched it with a spreadsheet also. It was there was a lot of resources on the spreadsheet, and man, I loved my spreadsheet. I'm a Virgo. I do love a good spreadsheet. And I wanted to be able to there was multiple worksheets in this workbook, and I wanted to be able, on this page, they could go get their chat GPT prompts, and on this page, they could go get this, on this page, they can go get this. And what I was finding is there were people that just weren't that savvy with a spreadsheet, were not understanding the tabs and how to get back and forth to things. And then I was constantly having to keep this spreadsheet updated. So I just basically ended up moving everything over to my resources, which is like a course platform. It looks like a course platform. And it just made it easier for me. And there wasn't any real pushback on it. So it actually made my life easier too, and it worked. However, there are people out there that are running their entire paid community around a spreadsheet that people can comment on and share. So it's an option, okay? Now, let me talk to you about the launch of this and how this came to be really quick. And then I'll talk more about some of the past ones that I've done. This one, I already have an audience. So this is an important thing to note. I've already done the time. I'm still doing it every day, but I put in the time over the years that I already have a kind of a loyal tribe, right? When I say tribe, I'm thinking of Seth Godin's book, Tribes, where he talks about building a loyal audience that will just basically follow you anywhere. So this group, original group, I have a new group coming in now, but this original group, they were part of my real estate teachings back in 2010. And then when I lost 50 pounds in 6 months on the keto diet and became a certified keto coach, a lot of them followed me over there. Now I'm teaching how to make money online with affiliate marketing and digital products and coaching systems and ebooks and monetize YouTube channels and Pinterest and blogging. And a lot of them have followed me over here. That's kind of that concept. I already have a group of those people, okay? I probably have, I'm going to say, an engaged 1,000. I have a mailing list of, I don't know, 20,000, 25,000, which is by no means huge, but I've said it many, many times. If you have 1,000 people that when they think of something, a niche, a specialty or something, they think of you, whether that's real estate, being a plumber, digital marketing, whatever, that is all you're probably ever going to need. And some people will say it's only 200. Maybe it's only 200. I don't know. But my number's always been right about 1,000. When I go look at who's opening emails and yes, we're still using emails. Again, we're over 40 over here. This is a lot of us. So we're still using emails. And it's still very impactful. I still do a lot of sales off of that. Anyway, so I'm still watching all of that. What are they engaging with? And there's a very healthy 1,000. There's all these people that come in and out around that, but this is kind of like the tribe. These are the people that I know always want to do business with me. So I already kind of had that. And I was sitting there one day going, my whole life has changed. At one time, it was so real estate related. And now I'm really all about the affiliate marketing business and the digital marketing business. And I really haven't taught that specifically other than one-off webinars or one-off little courses. Maybe it's time to think about bringing a coaching program back into the mix, which I've done before. And so this is how I do it. I put out feelers wherever my audience is. So some of you guys might have a big Instagram following. Some of you might have a big YouTube following. Some of you might have a big Facebook following, somebody, whatever, wherever you are, go out there and put a teaser or a feeler. And I'll say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Would anybody be interested? And I'll open it with a nice, big, fat, juicy statement. Something like, I made $100,000 on TikTok last year. Would anybody be interested in a coaching program around this, but also tying in Amazon, YouTube, Pinterest, blogging, ebook, yada, yada. And I wait and I look for response. Now, let me tell you, I do this periodically with different types of things. And if there's not a lot of response, now sometimes it could just be that day. Sometimes it could be the algorithm. I might test it another way a little bit later. But if I'm still not getting a bite on it, it could be the season, people just aren't thinking about it, or, when people are worried about money, politics, watching the stock market, all of that, some people will hold back a little bit. So I wait for timing a little bit before I launch something like that. But when the response is huge, like I can tell it's getting a bunch of people commenting, I'm interested, I'm in, then I know it's time to go and not to wait. So I literally launched this coaching program overnight. When I saw the response come in, this is what I decided to do. I was using a software that I had just started playing with, and it was like a link in bio page. It's called Stan Store. I'm going to put my link in the description below. I do have an affiliate link. It does benefit me, but I'm not here to try to sell you the software. But if you're interested, it is down there. But I was dabbling. Somebody was talking about it, and I was like, do I really want to add another software right now? But I wasn't happy with my landing page, where I was sending everybody. And now I'm on so many platforms. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on this. I need one place for everybody to kind of land. What I liked about Stan Store is that it also I could add affiliate products, I could add courses, I could add lead magnets, like a PDF book that they could register for, all right here on this one landing page. If I'm promoting something big on Amazon and everybody's asking where it is, I could put that on the page. I loved that. That is what I was interested in. I didn't know that I was going to sell courses through Stan originally, which I wound up getting to. But the reason why I put out this little feeler is because I got an email from Stan that said, hey, we're launching our paid communities. And here's what it looks like. And I thought to myself, I haven't done this in a while. I haven't done something, and I've never tested this platform. So let me just poke at it and see what it does. And so I said to myself, if I get 50 people, it makes it worth it, because I don't sell things cheap. Well, not like, gosh, some of the people out there that are selling courses for thousands and thousands of dollars. I don't mean that. But this was going to be $99.95. It still is $99.95 a month. So I know it's going to be only serious people that want to make money that are going to invest in this. So if I get 50 and I can make $5,000 a month, then it's worth me focusing on putting some time into building, showing up for live, which, let me tell you, I don't like to make appointments on my calendar. So that's a thing for me. It really is. It takes away freedom. So if I'm going to trade time for money in that aspect, it has to be worth it in a big picture. I'm going to give these people every piece of what they came for. Trust me. And they'll tell you that. But I needed it to be worth it for me. So I said 50 was my number. Okay, if I can get 50, I'll be really happy. So when I got, double that in the comments, and it was continuing to go on, it was hundreds of people who were like, yeah. I knew I was probably going to get my 50. So I went on to Stan and I played around with this little community. And basically what it did was, I ended up changing it a little bit now, but what it did was it put everybody in this Stan community, which had a lot of really cool things about it. So it kind of looks like a Facebook or Discord or whatever, where people can chat and you can upload files and that type of thing in there. The friction, which I'm always trying to remove friction, the friction, like sandpaper is friction to me, right? If there's something that people aren't getting and they're not comfortable with, they're not liking, that's friction. I don't want that. I don't want friction. The friction was people didn't like having to go to this other community, this other platform and log in. And that I was like, oh, okay, I keep having to repost everything. They're not getting the notifications because they're not on Facebook. It's not like when they're on scrolling on Facebook. And so all these people were signing up and paying for that. It was dropping them into the community. Then I had a welcome email that would go out and it would send them the link to their resource, to the spreadsheet, to the resources and all that kind of stuff. And it all went through Stan. Beautiful, seamless integration. Stan collects all the money and then it just pays me out. I don't have to mess with any of that. All the email flows work with my email program, so they're kind of linked through an API. So I use like a $50 a month email program, super cheap, and then it just integrates through there, which is nice. So I loved the setup was super easy. I was able to launch overnight, wasn't a big deal. So anyway, I went on and I told everybody, okay, it's open, come on over. Well, I got 100 people overnight, 100 signed up. Now, I know people that have made 60,000, 70,000, 100,000 on their launches. I was just thrilled to get over 5 for this particular thing because it was a test. I really didn't have I wasn't holding it to any kind of expectation. There was no investment. I hadn't spent any money on it. So it's just kind of, let's just see, which is really kind of how I run my business, how I've launched most of my things. Let's just see. We'll see if it works. If it does something, we'll stick with it. If it doesn't, we'll move on to something else. And it got to 100. And then fourth quarter last year, I launched it, I think it was, what did I say, June of last year. By fourth quarter, it had over 200. So now I'm making 20,000 a month on the coaching program. And then politics, stock market, tariffs, people started holding back. I'm starting to get messages. I'm sorry, I love this. I want to be in, but I got to cut corners. I don't know where things are going to go. And they would literally blame the president in their cancellation. It was so funny. So I really thought it was kind of phase out because I have launched things before that didn't stay, they had their time and then they pulled back, whether it was a 3-month course or the Ballen method was making like 30,000 a month when I first launched it in 2013. And that lasted for about 4 or 5 years, I think it was. So I've had really big wins. I've had some that just kind of, it's okay. I'm making a few thousand here or there, not really worth me showing up every Tuesday at 4 o'clock for, you know what I mean? So I kind of was watching this going, ooh, wow, that went up to the 200s, now it's pulling back. So the lowest number that it hit was 98, and now it's leaping again. It's climbing back up again. And I realized today that this is also going to have seasonality. People are very comfortable summer to fourth quarter. They have more money. They're spending more money. So this could be, the good news is I've never gone below 98. So it remains a $10,000 a month stream of income pretty steadily regardless of everything else moving. So I was kind of like, okay, well, I can really kind of budget on the 10,000, build on the 10,000, really focus on the students I have. And if it goes above that, then it's just gravy. Then it'll be awesome. Well, let me tell you what's another thing that's making it leap that you can take away from this as well. Gosh, we're already almost at 20 minutes. And that is that I really started focusing on this YouTube channel. And I've had this YouTube channel for many years and it's been many things. And I was doing faceless content mostly where I showed up on a computer and did video tutorials for the past 5 years. I think that's what I was doing. And then one day, well, honestly, nudging of ChatGPT, that's a whole nother conversation. But ChatGPT kept telling me, you need to get back on camera. You need to get back on camera. People need to see you. They need to relate to you. And just go talk to them and share your ideas and tell them how you're making money. And I was like, all right, I'll try that. And sure enough, you guys are showing up for it. So that the ability to see, connect, makes you feel like you know somebody, makes you feel like you can trust somebody. It's very different than reading somebody's story on a blog or watching a video where they're not on it, you can't see them. The connection matters. This is something I've learned, that this is what launched my career in the first place. And then I tried to go behind the camera. And now I'm back out and I can really see and feel the difference. And people really do want you to show up, however you are, whoever you are. I'm just in a plain black t-shirt today and I didn't even curl my hair. I just kind of took a shower and scrunched it all up and I'm here. This is what we're doing. I want to talk to you guys about this, okay? So that's really building my channel. So first of all, how do you build an audience to do this? YouTube is a fantastic place, you guys. Whatever it is that you want to build a community around, you could build a community around parenting, relationships, hobbies, home decor, recipes, food, health, wellness, finance, money, whatever it is that you want to do. I'll give you a really outside the box idea. So I had a daughter she's now graduated college, but we were trying to get her into college, and she was trying to get into this college. It had a less than 5%, her program had a less than 5% acceptance rate. It was very hard to get into this school, very hard to get into this program that she was getting into. So she was immersed in YouTube videos at the time that were all about how to get into this school. There was a whole huge amount of artists and people that were in her niche that were watching acceptance videos, people talking about how they got accepted, what they did, they thought that helped them get accepted. And then all the way through, while she's in college, that's what's happening. People want to know about the college. They want to know about so there are some people that are building entire channels around that experience. Now, the only negative with that is when it's all done, that channel, it's going to have to be fed somehow. You're either going to have to sell it, you're going to have to plug somebody else into it, or you would have to completely pivot, and then you might lose a bunch of everybody that's following you in the first place. Like I did when I switched this channel from a real estate marketing channel to digital marketing channel. A lot of those original real estate agents that only want to learn real estate just don't watch anymore. So that is a thing too. At one time, I launched a keto coaching program. And that was another one where I launched with 100 people, $99.95 a month. That seems to be my sweet spot. I built some courses in there. We showed up live. It was the same type of format. And it was in the health and wellness space. Now, the reason why I did not continue with that program, because I think it would have done really, really well, is because I decided I didn't want to be responsible for other people's health. So think wisely about what you're about to launch, because it has to be something that you're passionate about, you can talk a lot about, you're well-versed in. Now, the difference between a coaching program and a community is that you can launch just a paid community that'll kind of take care of itself. And that's what kind of wound up happening with this keto program, is the community was really active. So people would come in and say, what am I supposed to eat today? And somebody else would say, what are your carbs at? And somebody else, whatever. Now, the only thing I didn't like as a coach, natural coach, teacher, trainer, is that some people were giving bad advice. So I would have to go in and monitor the group. And I would say things like, well, here's the correct macros, or here's the recipe for that. But the community was lively and active. And a lot of people will just launch these communities just because it's your hobby and everybody can join. $10, $9.95, $19.95. You're not actually teaching anything. You're just kind of fostering a community. There's a lot of people doing that. One place you can do that is on YouTube. YouTube has YouTube memberships. I was looking at it this morning. They're super active in pitching their memberships right now. I have not tested their membership platform because I'm pretty good at driving people to my own, but that doesn't mean I won't play with that. We'll see. But they have a suggested price points based on your channel. And it'll say like $4.99 for this, $9.99 for this, $19.95 for this. And you literally could just be doing chats. You could be doing polls. You could be doing, okay, I'll live stream for this group once a month. It's got a bunch of different options that it suggests. We're not talking building courses. It's a community. It's very different. The drawback is YouTube takes 30%. So you're working off a 70% profit margin. But the nice thing is it's all built into YouTube. You don't have to go build a third-party website. You don't have to mess with any of that stuff. It's all right there. You're not paying for Stan Store. You're just right there. So if you were to say, I know I'm only doing YouTube, that's my thing. I love to just talk about trucks with big tires. Got the country accent all of a sudden in there too. Then I'm going to build a group about trucks with big tires. And I'm going to charge, and we're all going to meet once a month. And all you have to do is kind of foster the live stream, right? Maybe you're going to have 4 people on there as guests or speaks or whatever. You don't have to teach, is what I'm trying to say, to make money doing all of this. I teach, but that doesn't have to be the way that it's done. Now, I also want to share the difference between courses and this new format that I now prefer is the benefit of a course. So a course would be like something that just lives on a platform. It could be self-timed. It could be a cohort where you organize it and people show up every Monday and you're teaching them along a pattern, whatever. The courses have served me well over the years, but if you're in a industry that's moving very fast, like I am in digital marketing, I can't keep up. I can't update them enough. That is really a pain for me. So I've got to do the live calls instead and then offer resources that are timely and that it can be removed or whatever. I'm not going to sit and manage courses all the time anymore because it's just every time I turn around, whatever I told them last week was true about YouTube is not true anymore today. Every single platform is just moving and adding, and here's new this and membership changes and AI this. No, wait, now it's ChatGPT 5. So everything I taught you on ChatGPT 3 isn't going to be the same now if you're using ChatGPT 5. So it's very, very hard to keep up with. But if you're teaching gardening and the processes of gardening don't change that much, you could do an evergreen course. And that might be different for you, and that could still offer big opportunity. I've made big money in courses, in one-off paid webinars, and in this new group coaching format. And I would say they all were the right one at the time for me. So you have to kind of look at all the different ways to do this and decide, okay, I like it this way. And then you might also want something like a full-blown WordPress branded membership site that you're in complete control over. My brothers, Jeff and Paul at Ballen Brands, I'll put the link below, they actually build those. So if you want something like that, you can go that direction. But no matter what you do, in order to get to this, you've got to build the audience. So here's my quick tip on how to do that. First, identify the audience that you're going to go look at. So for example, let's just say you're going to do a mom channel. Consider the fact that your kids are going to grow up. So you might think you're teaching pregnancy, babies, toddlers, but eventually they're going to be 10 and they're going to be 13, they're going to be 17, and you might still want to have a channel. So you have to kind of think a little bit more broad, but let's just say right now your whole focus on moms. Well, how do you niche that down just a little bit so it's a little less competitive? Maybe it's stay at home moms, different things like that. There's ways to work around that. Well, then kind of your age demographic. You're talking basically to 20 to 40-year-old-ish, right? And that helps you kind of identify their needs, their problems. And it would be the same if it's gardening. Who is it that's gardening? It may not even be a male-female thing. I have no idea. I've never dived into the demographics. So it might just be people who are gardening. Well, who are they? Are they people with a limited amount of time? Are they people that are retired and have a ton of time? You're going to kind of identify that as you go a little bit. But the better you talk to a specific audience, the better you're going to generate results. Then on YouTube, I believe it's 2 times per week for 20 minutes or so, 20 to 40 minutes, let's just say. Some people do hours and hours. Let's just say 20 to 40 minutes of videos on YouTube per week. 2 of those. So Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, whatever that happens to be. I like to batch mine and make a bunch of them and then have them ready to go. And then sometimes if I miss a week, it really shows up. It hurts the money. You can see it. Consistency really matters. So if your cadence, we call that cadence, how much you're actually going to post. If you're only going to do once a week, that's all you have the time for, then just stick to once a week and don't miss. Batch them, get the videos ahead of time, and that's going to help you grow. As you first publish videos, not that many people are going to show up. You're going to feel like you're talking to yourself. You're going to get disappointed. And you're probably going to want to quit. Stay anyway. Do enough of them that you get some real data. If you're only making 2 videos a week, and you give up 30 days in, you don't have enough data to tell you what was going to work or not, or 90 days in. But if you make 2 videos a week, at the end of the year, you're going to have 100 videos to be able to go through and go, okay, I tried this, this works, this doesn't work, this didn't get response. And in the very beginning, if you want to publish more than 2 a week, just to get enough videos in this system that there's some things people can binge on, that the algorithm can figure out who you are faster, that's even better. If I was starting a brand new channel today and I had the time, the energy, and the desire, I would publish a long form video every day until something takes off. And then I'll pay attention to what takes off and I'll double down right there. That's just kind of the formula. That is the best way, in my opinion, right now to build an audience. Another really popular format for building this is Instagram. I know some amazing creators that created everything they've ever done on Instagram, and then they drive them all through their link in bio or through a comment course, comment money, comment whatever, and I'll send you the information about my course. That all works wonderfully well. So if you want to build on Instagram, you can do that as well. TikTok also has its own power if you prefer short form content and think you can resonate with an audience and build a good following on TikTok and drive them all over to your courses. That's a spot as well. But before you can make the money, you have to build the audience. You've got to figure out your cadence. You got to know who you're talking to. Start creating that content and then start thinking about launching those courses. Don't wait for things to be perfect. Just get out there. I would say the only mistake I've probably ever made, the biggest mistake I've ever made with my coaching programs is stopping them. Not moving forward, not having one lined up, not having something active, taking too long of breaks in between, because it's always been a great money maker of mine. It's never going to be my only money maker because I teach the stuff that I actually do. So it's probably going to be a third of the empire, which is kind of how it always seems to even out. And I think that's perfectly healthy, and that's a great way to do it. So if you like this, and you are interested in the coaching program, I'd love to have you. The link is below, ballenblueprint.com. I'm Lori Ballen, and thank you for joining me today.